channel. Today is Vlogmas Day 7. Now, some of you guys might not know this, but I actually am the host of a podcast called the EdTech Classroom Podcast. And with my podcast, I help teachers explore creative and innovative learning models in their classrooms. So I talk about all things EdTech, of course, but I also talk about things like project-based learning, social emotional learning, and I'm just really passionate about my podcast. So for today's video, I thought it could be a good idea to give you guys sort of a sneak peek into some of my recent episodes. So without further ado, let's get started. All right, so the first conversation that I'm going to give you guys a sneak peek and a glimpse into is a conversation that I had with Dr. Leah Hanes, who is the CEO and Chief Juggler of the 2-Bit Circus Foundation. So let's check it out.
But I think the most important part of what we bring with this random material is if you buy your kids an expensive robotics kit, they follow the instructions and they make that robot that the kit designer designed. If you give them random materials and some Raspberry Pi or some old motors and ask them to make a robot, they become critical thinkers and creative thinkers and problem solvers. And really, the follow the instruction work is all going to be done by computers in the future. And what we need is kids who can think their way through a problem, who can find out what the challenge is and find their way to it. So I'm really happy that you're using the material in your classroom, and I hope it's inspiring the kids the way we want it to.
All right, so the next conversation that we're going to listen to is a little bit of insight from Shane Krukowski, who's the co-founder and COO of Headrush. Headrush is a project-based learning management system, and I really loved my conversation with Shane, so let's check it out now.
What is education for, but also recognize some of the benefits of technology, and how do we do education that's human-centered when so much of our productivity, etc., is going to be increasingly artificial intelligence, automation? How do we fit in that world? And I think if your paradigm is sit down in a desk and let me fill you with information, I just don't feel like that makes students ready for the world nor the jobs that they're going to need to reinvent themselves in.
Definitely.
And not to mention happiness, which I know sounds like a Pollyanna thing, but I just feel like there's some built-in assumptions to the industrial model that are no longer true. So it's just kind of challenging on many levels.
And then lastly, let's take a look at my conversation with Mike Kaechele, who is an SEL and PBL teacher and coach, and he's also a member of the national faculty for the Buck Institute of Education. So let's check it out.
And then as I did more projects, I started to realize when I evaluated my projects, which ones were the best. It all comes down to community connections. And that's something at the middle school when I was a tech teacher, that's one thing I didn't have. I didn't reach out to the community much and really make it a community connection. And I think that's a really key ingredient to the best projects. They're seated in the local community, they're place-based, and they make a difference in the community.
Thank you so much for watching today's video. Like I said, today is Vlogmas Day 7. If you liked this video, be sure to check out my podcast. I think that you guys would really be interested in the guests and interviews that I have on my podcast, so you can check it out by using the links in the episode description down below. And like I said, I really hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys back here soon. Bye, friends.